In today's video, we're going to review a total botch job of a trade that I took today on Apple. Coming into today, I had a really solid plan looking for downside on Apple. Yesterday, we moved up into a major 155 supply level and left a very ugly daily candle showing that that supply was strong and showing that there was a major rejection coming in. On top of that major supply rejection on Apple at 155, there was a gap down below to fill, and I had this entire plan to trade Apple to the downside to fill the downside gap into 151. I knew exactly where I wanted to get in, what retest I was looking for to take my trade entry, and when the market opened and when we got some volatility around 10 a.m. today, my entire plan sort of blew up. I didn't follow my plan. I didn't wait for the retest to take my entry, and I walk away with a pretty much break-even trade, and now I look at Apple and I see it did exactly what my plan was looking for it to do. So I figured that this trade would be a great example here on YouTube. I am not afraid to share when I mess up on execution. I'm not afraid to share when I do things wrong. I want to use this as a learning example for you guys and a learning example for me as well. I didn't wait for the break and retest, which you guys know I trade all of the time. I didn't stick to that strategy, and today you will see the result of me not being patient for that entry. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and learn from the total botch job today on Apple. So if you caught the pre-market live stream this morning, you're probably aware of the Apple analysis we did in the live stream. We talked about that 155 supply. We talked about that gap fill down below and the really ugly daily candle that was presenting itself. If you did miss that live stream, I want to go ahead and share with you what this looked like this morning. This is where I provide my analysis every morning. So we were saying here with Apple rejected the major 155 supply yesterday. You can see that here in the daily chart that I posted this morning. You can see this is our daily chart. We had that major supply rejection up at 155, and you can see that this was yesterday's daily candle, a major rejection of that level and a really ugly, what some would call gravestone doji, right? We moved up, we moved down, and a really ugly close on Apple, definitely presenting itself a major definitely presenting a major rejection there at 155. Now you can also see here on this daily chart, we had this really large gap below down to around that 151 demand. So this is what I was targeting, right? I wanted to see if we could fill this downside gap after rejecting that 155 supply. Now to get my entry on this play, I was looking for a break under 153.50, a break and retest of that level to confirm that downside continuation. So I had the right plan, right? I knew what I was doing coming into the day. I had that 155 supply. I had that gap fill, looking for that gap fill. I had the level that I wanted to play off of, but I didn't follow these things that I talked about. And I think that we can all agree as traders that you can come into a day with a really solid plan, and you usually will see that plan work out, but it's all about that intraday execution, staying calm, waiting for that retest, waiting for that trigger that gets you in that position, not chasing a move, not getting FOMO. And I think that is very important and a good lesson that I learned from today. Typically, I'm very good at this. So today, a little bit of a one-off day. I'm not that worried about it. Of course, I missed this trade. It would have been a nice win, but I know that I typically will follow my plan, and this is what has kept me profitable over the last 4 years. Today, a little bit of a slip up, right? It's going to happen. And I wanted to share this trade today because I wanted to share how this can happen to any good trader out there. Maybe you slip up out there on certain days. I wanted to make sure you know that me, myself, I slip up as well. And it is something that is very normal in trading and something that we have to continue to work on to improve our skills. So you can see here on the daily chart, this is as of 3:16 p.m. today. And you can see that we had that very nice rejection yesterday. This is the daily candle that we were just talking about. And this is today's candle, right? A pretty much perfect gap fill candle right back down into that 151 demand. The exact plan that I was looking for worked out beautifully. So now I want to go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper. We're going to get into the shorter term time frames. I'll share with you guys my entries and exits, how I sort of mismanaged this trade. So if we go into the 5-minute chart here, this is where I found that 153.50 level, which I wanted to play a break and retest off of. This level was a previous low from yesterday, right? This 153.50 right here, this was a low from yesterday morning. So I knew that if we broke that low from yesterday, and if we turned that yesterday low into a rejection point, then we would probably see a downside continuation. You can see that we had a 153.50 support there. We held it in the after hours, and we came back down to it early morning today. So I knew coming into today, I wanted to see that breakdown below 153.50. I wanted to see the retest of that level to take my entry point, and this is where it went wrong. This is where I did not wait for that 153.50 retest. I got in without the retest, and that's what sort of threw off my risk reward. And that's honestly what sort of screwed up my entire confidence in the play. When I enter using my strategy, I am very confident in the trade setup. When I enter not aligning with my strategy, things don't feel as right? And that is very important. It's a very big takeaway from this video. We have to be confident in the trades we're in. And I am most confident in my trades when I stick to my break and retest. My best trades, whether they're wins or losses, the cleanest trades that I take are always break and retest because I know what I'm doing in the position. I know where I'm going to get out. I know my risk reward. I know everything that's going on. I feel in total control. But when I enter outside of that strategy, which I did today, things get a little bit sloppy, and that is exactly what happened to me on this trade on Apple. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the 2-minute chart, and we're going to look at exactly how this went down. So if we zoom into the 2-minute chart and we just look at today's price action, you are going to see that we maintained that 153.50 level pretty much all morning. Now, it wasn't until that 10 a.m. news today, the Jerome Powell testimony, that we got a very aggressive flush candle on the market and obviously a very aggressive candle on Apple. This went straight through 153.50. Now, at this point, I felt that I could try to play that continuation, which I actually got a nice piece of, but I didn't manage the trade correctly. So I started to enter here around this 153 level, looking for that downside continuation. I did get some downside continuation, but I didn't feel 100% comfortable in the trade, and I didn't manage it correctly, going back to not being 100% comfortable in a trade that is not aligning with my traditional strategy, the break and retest. So if I pull up TradeZello, you guys can see I made about $54 on this trade, pretty much a break-even trade, but I did have profits at a certain point on this position. So you can see I was entering here at around 1005, 1006, around that 152.60 level. And if I go down to this running P&L, you can see I was actually up about $500 on this position at one point, but I wasn't managing it correctly because I didn't know my risk to reward. I wasn't that comfortable in the position, and I was still looking for downside continuation because I didn't have that great entry. I didn't have that retest entry. I didn't really formulate a plan. In honesty, I sort of chased this move because I felt like I wasn't going to get the retest. So sure, it was a good trade. I was profitable on the trade pretty much the whole time. I let my runners ride, but you can see that pretty much at the end of the trade, my last exit was up here at 153.30, and I pretty much came out break even. So overall, again, just a total botched up of a trade, and here's what went wrong. So if I go back to the 2-minute chart, you can see I was entering around here. I did get downside continuation, but I didn't quite have a plan, right? I didn't have that plan in place. Where was I going to take profits? Where was I going to stop out? I didn't have that intact before entering. A very, very key thing. Now you can see later in the day, if I just stayed a little bit more patient, we got a push back up to the upside. We ended up retesting 153.50. So at this point, I didn't think that we were going to retest 153.50. But if you look at what happened, we went right back up and we retested 153.50. Absolutely astonishing, in my opinion, how many times the market will do these break and retest. No matter how far this stock goes down, it comes back and it retests that level. And this right here was the right entry. This is where I should have entered this position, because if I would have waited and I would have started to get short here at my retest level that I talked about all morning, that I game planned to take an entry at, if I would have just waited for that retest and I had a solid structured plan, you can see what the rest of the day on Apple looked like, right? You can see if I would have got in here at the retest, I would have had a very nice aggressive downside, would have scaled out into this move, and I probably would have rode a runner maybe until right now. Who knows? Maybe I would have swung trade these because I was up so much on the individual position. Who knows what would have happened there, right? We can't think about the what ifs. All we can do is look at what we did wrong, what we could have done better, and in this situation, entering the Apple puts without any type of real game plan, looking for that downside continuation without the retest, not having a structured trade, getting a tad bit of FOMO because that level did break, thinking I could get downside continuation into that gap fill, but never waiting for the retest is what went wrong for me today. So I think that this is a very good testament to sticking to your strategy. Sticking to your strategy no matter what the move is on the market. If you don't get the retest, don't take the trade. And if you do get the retest, take the trade and follow your game plan. Today, an example of me not doing that. Traditionally, I'm very good at this, and I've had a great start to March, a great start to this year. But today, a little bit of a slip up. I wanted to share with you because I want to be transparent, and I want to share with you when things go wrong, how I learn from them, how I use TradeZilla to review my trades, and really try to improve myself when I take these types of slip up trades. I am happy with how Apple worked out. I'm happy with my analysis ending up doing exactly what I expected. So I do take away that, and I am happy about seeing that, giving me confidence that I'm still obviously looking at the right things on the market. But the intraday execution, one of the hardest parts of trading, is something that I needed to work on today, and I wanted to share it with you in today's video. So if you guys learned something from today's video, make sure to drop it down below. Let me know what you learned. Sticking to your strategy, focusing on intraday execution, waiting for that strategy to hit. Let me know what you guys think about today's video down below. If you guys enjoyed it, press that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more trades, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.